Let's take a look at the top five highest graded Mountaineers on defense in the game against TCU. It's just me, Jordan here, popping into this video to remind you guys, if you haven't already, do us a favor, hit that like button, give us the thumbs up. That'll help this video's performance and help future videos performances here on the channel. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Helps us, helps you, helps get more of this Mountaineer football content out to Mountaineer Nation. Additionally, we just wanted to say to everyone in the Country Roads Webcast community and to all of you throughout Mountaineer Nation, happy Halloween. Let's go, Mountaineers. Coming up at number 5, the mainstay on this list, it feels like every week, Dante Stills, I haven't, kept up with it as far as who's appeared on this list each week, but I think at the end of the season, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a look back on the top player grades, the top 5 highest player grades on each side of the football and see who had the most appearances on each side and do kind of a top 5 of that as well. And I have no doubt in my mind that Dante Stills will be involved there, and he may be number 1 because it seems like he's been here every single week. There may be one week that he wasn't, but I'm not 100% sure on that. He definitely could have been here every week, and that just shows you how consistent he's been, even if it hasn't been on the stat sheet. Like I've said here time and time again, he's been doing his role and beating his man and doing the things that come out to get him, this high grades from PFF week in and week out. And that's no different this week as he comes out with the 5th highest grade on the Mountaineer defense with a 73.3. And you can't talk about his performance in this game without talking about the big thing that came out of it for him. And, I've mentioned it before. I'll mention it again. That's him becoming the career tackles for loss leader in West Virginia football history. That's big. Grant Wiley's held that record, for nearly 20 years now. So to see it finally, be broken is crazy. And to know that Dante still stands alone as the player with the most tackles for a loss in West Virginia University football history after this one is big. And he pops up in the top 5 highest graded players on PFF for the Mountaineers on defense at number 5 in this one. And then at number 4, a guy that's starting to become a mainstay on the list as well, it seems, and that's free safety Aubrey Burks coming out with a 74.3 defensive grade. I think not only has Aubrey Burks been popping up on this list more frequently, I think to the naked eye, if you're just watching the game, that you see that he's performing well. He seems to be around the ball a lot. He's making plays on passes, and I think he's one of the few impressive performers or standout performers, I guess would be a better term, that West Virginia's had in what has been, a lackluster secondary to say the least this season. But here he is at number 4, the 4th highest graded Mountaineer in the game against TCU with a 74.3 grade. And then another defensive lineman here at number 3 for the Mountaineers, Bluefield's very own. Shout out to my alma mater there, Bluefield High School. Defensive lineman Sean Martin coming out with a 75.9 grade. Another player that's popped up on here a few times this season. And good to see him pop up on here because he was battling injury going in this game. He was questionable, just like, so many other players were, it seemed, in this game. Whereas Mountaineers have really been hit with the injury bug late in the season, but battles through, comes out with a 75.9 defensive grade. And, making plays there on defense yet again. The one that stands out is the tackle for a loss of Max Duggan. When TCU was going for a 4th down late, they gave the Mountaineers, another chance. Like we said, the Mountaineers had plenty of chances late in this game to try and, steal a win. Couldn't quite do it, get it done offensively late in the game. But the defense, I think, stepped up in some critical situations, some 3rd downs, 4th downs, things like that late in the game. And Sean Martin was one of the players that made a play on one of those. And that's one of the things that led to his grade coming out high as it did, and being the third highest graded Mountaineer on defense with a 75.9 defensive grade. And then another defensive lineman for the Mountaineers coming out as the second highest graded player on defense, and that's Jordan Jefferson, the nose tackle for the Mountaineers, coming out with a 79.5 grade. And here's a guy that's just really been standout all season for the Mountaineers. I think, like I said about Dante Steele being a mainstay, Jordan Jefferson maybe hasn't been his mainstay as much, but he certainly isn't very far behind. And he's a guy that even to the naked eye, I think as well, you can see what he's doing. He doesn't pop up in the stat sheet as much, but he does get his fair share of TFLs and tackles. But he's a guy that blows up, run plays specifically in short yardage situations. We've seen him do it multiple times, throughout the season. Again, going back to a 4th down and 1 or whatever it was against Virginia Tech, that was Jordan Jefferson blew that up. And then you can go through and I'm sure each game point out something that he's caused a TFL or a loss in a critical situation. And that's no different here against TCU, as I think to the goal line stand, TCU had the ball 1st and goal at the 1-yard line, ended up getting, stuff there and having to kick a field goal from outside their own 10, a 30-yard field goal. And the play that stands out to me is, on that, first time they tried to hand it off there from the 1, guess who blew it up? Jordan Jefferson pushed his man into the backfield, blew the whole play up, caused a 2 or 3-yard loss, and that just kind of set the series in order to the way that it would go to lead to that goal line stand. And so that's one of the standout plays from a standout player for the Mountaineers, not only this season, but yet again in this game against TCU as well, as he comes out with the second highest grade with a 79.5 for the Mountaineers. And then the top highest graded Mountaineer in this one may surprise you, and that's cornerback Malachi Ruffin with a 79.6 grade, coming out with just 0.1 higher of a grade than Jordan Jefferson. So almost 1A and 1B here, but a little bit higher. Malachi Ruffin, securing the top grade. And like I said, may surprise you just because who it is. We've seen Malachi Ruffin struggle this season. He's been thrust into more action than probably he would have expected. I know the Mountaineers wanted him to move to safety kind of, but with the injuries, he's been having to play cornerback almost exclusively this season. And like I said, been a bit of a mixed bag. But this game, we definitely saw the best performance of his WVU career. Um, really stepped up to the challenge. West Virginia had a lot of corners out. Rashad Ajayi out. Wesley McCormick battling through injury, still playing. Charles Woods still battling, through another injury playing. Jacoby Spells out. Mumu out. So you had Malachi Ruffin, you had Charles Woods, and you had a little bit of Wesley McCormick, and that was pretty much it. And Malachi Ruffin, I think, stepped up there. The play, of course, that stands out is the interception that he had going up against the 6'7" Wiley Malachi Ruffin, giving up a lot of inches there height wise. Big mismatch, but he made the play when they threw it up, got the interception that looked like could be the game changing play for the Mountaineers. Didn't end up being that way, but if the Mountaineers would have been able to do something there, we would have looked at that play as the play of the game. So I think that plays one of the reasons that he pops up here as the highest graded Mountaineer on defense with the 79.6 as he came out with that impressive interception. And shout out to him for stepping up when the Mountaineers needed him to there. And hopefully he does moving forward because the Mountaineers secondary definitely needs something to happen. But those are the top 5 highest graded players on defense as well. So completing the top 5 player grades for the Mountaineers according to PFF in this game against TCU. Having said that, as always, I'm Jordan Cruz. And until next time, let's go Mountaineers.